welcome to part 2 of my video all about exploring insects as a food source. In this video I'll be revealing what my unsuspecting friends actually ate and also revealing some stats and facts about insects as a food source and our current food production that may just change your perception about insects as a food source. Enjoy!
My perception of it was worse than the actual reality of the taste, I think. It wasn't how I thought it was going to be.
It's the fact that you're eating the whole thing. So if you had a prawn and you ate the head and legs and tail, that's like that. Whereas if you gave me an insect, but you'd just taken the meat off of it and then made something with that, then that would be fine.
I thought it was quite enjoyable, actually.
At no point did I feel like I felt disgusted by any of the tastes, none of the textures. The only thing was the heavy, what I thought was, what I definitely know is a sweet. It was heavy, so that just not scared me a little, but it did sort of make me feel like, oh my god, what am I about to eat?
Would you be surprised to know that everything on that plate that you ate actually contained insects, including that strawberry sweet?
Yes.
The 2 sweets that you ate did have insects in them.
I knew you were going to say that!
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'm surprised, but I just thought I was going to cut this.
Any kind of sweets that have pink dye in them are often made of insects. It's just labelled as something different on the ingredients because there is a specific insect that if you grind down the shell, it creates a pink dye, and that's what's in sweets. You're likely eating insects already anyway.
Wow,
Yeah,
what kind of
so
insects?
that's why they're allowed to say no artificial colours or flavours, because they don't use artificial colours to make it pink, but they use insects.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit illegal, no?
No, because it is listed in the ingredients.
I suppose if you didn't know what chicken was, it's just chicken on the packet, isn't it?
So all of those had insects in.
Okay.
The insects that you ate
Yeah.
were crickets and mealworms. Yeah.
Okay. I
The-
wouldn't have guessed that for the third, or the red licorice thing.
So that's actually crushed up insects.
No way.
But the interesting thing about that is that people who would say they'd never eat insects are probably eating them already, including young kids.
Interesting. No way.
All of those things you ate were insects.
No, what? No, not even the sweet stuff.
They both have insects in them,
Right.
but they're obviously not getting any of like the protein and all of the good part of it. They're just getting the crushed up shells for colouring.
That's insane. I never actually thought about it like that. But actually now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, God, wow. So they were all insects.
It does surprise me. 2 billion people is a lot. That's 2 billion knowingly eating insects as part of their diet. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that surprises
Yeah.
me. Not gonna lie.
That's interesting.
Currently, over 2 billion people in the world eat insects, and that is 2,000 different species of insect in over 113 different countries.
Wow.
I watched Bear Grylls and he says he eats this insect and that insect and it does give you protein and it's just around. Sounds about right.
If I knew that they would give me the same nutritional benefits, your omega-3s that you really need and your proteins that you really need, then I would be adverse to putting them in my diet. But my assumption is that they don't have very many nutrients.
The social construct of, I guess, how we grow up, how you perceive the world, how you perceive food, people, relationships, anything is, I would say, relative to your little bubble, your little environment that you've been brought up in. So what we might consider as absolutely weird and, oh no way, is that fine, is the absolute norm elsewhere in a different part of the world. So yeah, I'd say, again, it's not a bad thing, it's just that you're just not used to it and it's not the norm.
I think it's absolutely our perception. We can't say, oh, well, it's fine to eat meat because we know that thousands of years ago as our ancestors have it. I just don't think that's a good enough sort of explanation as to why we eat it. If people find it negative to eat insects, it is kind of just as negative to eat other animals and other living beings, but it's just that we're just not used to it. In some countries, some of them are complete delicacies and they're really, really expensive, and like you go into these really posh restaurants and have them, but I think for us we can't imagine that, because when we go to our posh restaurants here we get like Wagyu beef or like caviar, and that's like fish eggs, so that's almost just as weird, isn't it? It's definitely like a cultural thing that because we haven't seen it, we've not grown up with it, we just don't do it. And if someone else does it, we're sort of like, whoa, okay, that's weird, why are you eating that? But then why are you eating a chicken or like a big cow?
Traditional livestock farming produces more greenhouse gas emissions worldwide than all of the cars in the world.
That I didn't know. I knew that it produced a lot, but I was not aware that it produces more than all the cars put together. That surprises me.
That's really bad, isn't it? That's really bad. I wouldn't say I'm surprised, because I guess if you are looking into the right things and if you are willing to research into this stuff and I guess follow the right people on social media and stuff, it has been out there that this is the case. So I'm not surprised by it. Am I still utterly shocked by it? Yes. And for me, I think it comes a lot from greed. More than anything, because it's like the amount that we are consuming is almost ridiculous. We shouldn't be eating this much anyway, because it's so accessible. We think it's okay just to grab, all this meat, all this chicken, all this fish, and we've got the cheaper places, like cheaper supermarkets, that has made it even more accessible. And then you have like buffets that do all you can eat meat. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm no saint, but I do look and I think you've just pushed away a whole plate of meat. And I think, 100 years ago, that would have never happened. And it is just such a waste. It does shock me, but in more of a sort of disgust shock sort of way, but it doesn't surprise me, which is not good. It should surprise me.
Wow.
Not surprised, but it's interesting to know.
Wow, yeah, that does really surprise me.
If you're eating a whole living creature, you're eating everything that it has, whether it's the nutrition that it's taken in or that it makes itself.
When I really think about it, fish and chicken and meat, what do they eat that I feel like is good for me? And is it even about what the animal eats that then gives me what I need?
All 9 essential amino acids. No, that's quite interesting.
Amazing, actually, that they're a complete protein. I never knew that.
Would you have thought that about insects?
No.
Wow.
It's an awful lot.
It's a lot.
Insects need 1 litre of water to produce 1 kilogram of protein, and cows need 22,000 litres.
Whoa, my thing.
Insects need 1 litre of water.
It's nothing, really.
Cows need 22,000 litres of water.
Wow. That's a lot of water. Wow, Christ, that's a lot.
For 1 kilogram?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Probably wouldn't have assumed that there was such a disparity in terms of, I guess, the amount of energy and resources it takes to essentially produce the same amount of what we need nutritionally versus, I wouldn't have thought that. It's quite interesting.
It would be hard to completely remove meat from my diet, but I think if I was making the world a better place, I would definitely be interested in using insects more than I currently use them, which is 0.
There you go. That's good.
I don't know, I'd have to research it a bit more, because I know all the effects eating beef has on your body and the nutritional content and things.
You can get, for example, protein powder made of those insects. Would you consider swapping the protein powder you have now for that?
Yeah, I have it for the nutritional content. I don't have it because of the way it tastes.
They look like what they look like when they're alive. It's just, I think, how I'm wired. But otherwise, if it's a case of, like you just did, basically close your eyes and try it. So I'm not saying I'm going to be closing my eyes every time I eat, but if it's sort of hidden away somewhere, if it's a case of using that as a source of protein in a brownie, and I didn't know that they were there, I don't think I'd be... I would care. I would probably just have it. I think some people will absolutely consider it.
But it's still the same thing. I wouldn't just eat an insect. But if that information was more publicly known and people started, you know, more production of insects into meals, or, you know, some sort of meat hybrid that you could buy and cook or eat in a restaurant, then yeah, I think more people would eat insects.
Perception of eating insects and what they taste like has probably changed. I wasn't really expecting them to taste as, so I guess, like any other snack I would have probably had. So yeah, on that basis, yeah, I would probably say they're not that bad. If someone said, do you want to try this? Now I would probably say, yes, I will.
Do you know what? I would definitely try it. I would 100% try it, because I think even with our, you know, the not so shocking meat and chicken and fish that we eat, the majority of it doesn't really taste of anything, much like most of this. It's the flavours we add to it. So if I was to buy, for example, cricket flour, and I was making pancakes and I'm putting blueberries and yogurt and honey on top, and I'm actually being healthier and more sustainable, then I honestly absolutely would do that.
If it becomes a societal norm and it's accessible, people will inevitably consume it. And I think if it's there and you've got an advert saying, my God, this is amazing, crunchy, I don't know, insect, have a try, I think people will probably try it. I guess personal preference, having only just tried it for the first time, right now, I'd probably choose to go veggie or cut down meat consumption over choosing insects.
When you really think about it, if you're like driving down the road and you drive past a field and there's loads of like farm animals, if you really look at them and think, okay, that's what I'm eating tonight, or that's like, you know, that's where my meat comes from, it does make you think like a little bit negatively about what you're doing, because it's almost like, oh, is that weird? But I think we're just so used to it that we would just drive past and be like, oh, sheep, okay, and wouldn't really think twice about it.
Christmas dinners are going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
I'm inspired.
Crickets all around.
I'm absolutely shocked and actually had a load of fun, and I've learnt so much. I think it's great to get the message out there that we don't have to live so unsustainably and to be selfish is for us, like, because we like the taste of this or because we like the taste of that. Because if we can get the nutrients elsewhere and actually help the planet, save the planet and do good for the planet, why not? I mean, why are we not doing this?
You would look at that and probably go, I don't really want it, but the closer you get, the weirder it looks. I will eat this. Yeah, it's nice. Honestly, you wouldn't really know that it is an insect you're eating.
I just think that has made me think more about if it was more publicly known that protein production from insects is so much less harmful to the planet than cows or chickens or pigs, then yeah, more things would be done to make protein from those things.
I'm really surprised about the nutritional content. That's what I would say is surprised me the most. It's healthy, it's sustainable, and it's tasty. So why not?
Mealworm pasta for dinner.
Maybe, yeah, I probably would.
Or cricket lasagna.
Yeah, because I think actually if you mixed it in with other stuff, it would taste even better.
Bring on the worms!
I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and it's made you think about the reality of eating insects versus our perception of it that has been really fueled by the media here in the Western world purely for our entertainment. Let me know in the comments below if your perception has changed, if you've learnt anything new, and of course if you have any questions at all, just let me know in the comments too.
Insect gang, all day, every day. Bat, bat, bat.